Hello, my name is Neil, also known as DJ Uno. I'm on Twitter as DJ Uno01, also on Facebook, Neil Sherritt, parentheses DJ Uno. I'm shooting this video in reference to AY Customs, Technics 1200 customization. They are a Technics 1200 customization company, supposedly, from California. They're on Facebook under that same name, Technics 1200 Customization. Well, it's actually AY Customs Technics 1200 Customization. The reason I'm shooting this video is to show you the quality of the work that I received, which is poor quality in my opinion. First of all, I found them on Facebook. What I saw was pictures of beautifully customized techniques. I mean, no flaws whatsoever. So I decided to contact him in reference to having my Technic 1200s customized. We spoke on more than one occasion, I believe about 4 occasions, before I even sent my turntables out, so that I could get a feel for him, just to see, what kind of guy he was, to make sure that, my techniques would be taken care of. He assured me that I would receive 2 fully functioning customized decks. I definitely did not receive that. Per our first conversation, we went over the specs that I wanted. I told him that I wanted 2 decks painted white. I also wanted the platter white, but I wanted it to look like a regular Technique platter, shiny with the dots exposed as a regular platter is, but just white. I wanted green LEDs and silver pitch plates. I told him that the tone-on parts, really, he didn't have to paint them. I wasn't really concerned about them. However, he did paint those. When I spoke to him, we arranged that I would ship my decks originally and that he would go ahead and start customizing a pair to my specifications, and then we would basically just do a trade. Once he got my decks, he would evaluate how much I would have to pay on the trade-in pair. So I sent my decks to him in the beginning of March of this year, like I said. Once he received them, he told me that, and I must admit one of them was in pretty bad shape. However, the other one was fully functioning, but one was in pretty bad shape. He told me that he would just go ahead and customize mine. At the time, I really didn't have a problem. Either way, I figured as long as I received 2 fully functioning, refurbished, customized decks, I was cool. I asked him approximately how long the process would take. He told me from start to finish, it should be a max of 3 weeks. Like I said, I mailed my decks around the beginning of March, maybe March 9th or so. It took about 5 to 6 days before he received them. So I'd say he received them around the 15th, no later than the 18th of March. I didn't receive my decks back until the end of June. I believe it was June 23rd or June 25th, somewhere around there. So it took him 3 months to complete a 3-week job. Throughout the process, I was calling him, he would text me, we were texting back and forth, we were emailing. There was always some excuse as to why my decks weren't finished. Then finally, in the beginning of May, he sent me a picture of some decks that were similar to what I had asked for. The only minor change was the platter. It was painted totally white, and I had asked him if he could, make it look like a regular Technique platter with the silver on it. He told me that that was fine. Those are my decks. Everything was completed. He would go home and he would take care of that. That would take maybe a day or 2. He would ship them out. He told me what I needed to pay, and I made payment. He told me that the decks would be shipped out. It would take at the max 6 days, 7 days tops, for me to receive them. Like I said, I didn't receive my decks until June 23rd or 25th, around that time. Furthermore, I believe that the only reason I even received decks is because I started to complain publicly via Twitter, via Facebook, via Instagram, and I complained to Google Checkout, which is another thing. He doesn't use PayPal, he uses Google Checkout. Google Checkout doesn't have any protections with, the buyer or purchaser experience. Whereas PayPal, if you're unsatisfied with something, they will, keep the money until it is resolved to a point where both of you are satisfied. Google Checkout basically doesn't do any of that. They do contact the seller on your behalf, but if the seller chooses to do nothing, that's basically it. You're out of your money. So it took him 3 weeks to finish the decks, and then when I got the decks, they weren't up to the standards that I was expecting. I was expecting, like I said, fully refurbished decks. I expected pretty much the decks to look brand new and customized, painted white as I asked, but other than that, to look brand new and to be fully working and functional. That's not what I received. One of the decks, which I'm about to show you, is totally not working at all. It's not functioning at all. So let's look at the decks. Well, first, before we even look at the decks, let me show you what happens when you try to play the deck. So as you can see here, I have a song queued up in Serato, have the deck connected. I don't know if you can hear the sound as well, but you can see that the waveform is dragging. So something is definitely wrong. It's not producing a good signal. Now this is regardless of pitch adjustment or anything. It's definitely the signal. It's not a pitch issue. So when we go to the setup to see what's going on, we hit estimate. It estimates fine. But then as you can see, get the straight line, no round circle as it's supposed to be. So there's definitely an issue with the signal. I'll have to check on the Serato website to see exactly what the vertical straight line means. And you can hear the music, but something is definitely wrong. So with that said, let's go over to the deck itself. First thing is the platter. Now the camera doesn't do it justice as well as the naked eye do, but if you can look at that, you can see that he basically just painted the platter and then attempted to sand off some of the paint on the dots. There was no care taken to make it look like a regular Technique platter, to reshine the silver surfaces or anything like that. And in comparison, I have my M5G here, which is about 8 to 10 years old. And you can see the shine on that platter still looks new. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting it to shine and look like a basically new platter with white instead of black. That's not what I received. Also, if we pull this out a little bit, get it in the light. If you look back here, paint's already chipping on the cup that he painted white. There's chip spots there. Also, on the suspension, the tone arm itself, it's just a poor paint job. And like I said, I didn't even ask him to paint that. All of that, I didn't even ask for that to be painted. But this is the kicker right here. In addition to it not playing, when you move the tone arm, as you can see back here, tone arm actually comes out of the suspension. He neglected to put the suspension screws back in, which hold the tone arm in place. So I'm suspecting that that's part of the issue as to the bad signal. That and possibly that, some of the wires are not connected due to that fact, or have broken because of the screw being missing and the tone arm moving around. As per my order, you can see, I mean, he did everything else. I asked for green out LEDs, but as you can see, the pitch plates are black. I asked for silver, and the quality of the work is not what I expected. The base paint on the base of the Technique is okay. I could live with that. But I just don't think this was a completed project. I don't think he took the care that he's taken with some of his other decks on mine. I really feel like he rushed this job once I started complaining, just to, you know, calm me down or quiet me up. Because, like I said, this deck here is not functioning. Irregardless of the imperfections in the paint, it's not a functioning deck. So there's no way you could have checked to, you know, make sure that this was completed. In addition to that, this platter, the platter didn't even go on for a period of time. Like, I had to figure out how it wouldn't go on. It wouldn't go all the way down. And what I figured out was, because the paint was done so sloppily, there was paint buildup inside the hole, and it wouldn't go all the way down. So I had to file that out myself to get the platter to go down. I mean, if you call yourself a business, which is what he claims to have, a reputable company, then you should take better care in your quality control. So with that said, again, like I said, he's on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, AY Customs, Technique 1200 Customization. Look him up. Let him know this video is out here and see what he has to say. I've attempted to call him and email him several times with no response. So maybe this will get his attention and he'll finally decide to, you know, fix my turntable or honor my complaint or something. Again, I'm DJ Uno, DJ Uno01 on Twitter. Thanks for watching.